you type in chatgpt.com and then it says, hi, what can I help you with today? When you start typing in there, that is a prompt. And so what we want to do is tell you how to Gemini put our prompts in there to get the outputs that we're looking for, and just things to avoid. I know someone asked what a chatbot was, so I want to make sure we add what a prompt is too. So,
great,
yeah.
great. So there are really 3 things that I want you to take away from this, and I'll tell you in advance. One is communicating with AI is first an exercise in being clear around your expectations. The second is recognizing that both for you and for whatever AI you're using, that it's an iterative process. The first time I spoke to Lilith, maybe I was like, well, I don't understand how she says this or why she did that. By the way, that's completely untrue. She's a fabulous communicator of all things. But what I want to highlight is that you have to understand that you're going into an iterative process, and if you haven't done this a lot, think of yourself as being a new learner, and that you're going to go through, you're going to iterate, and you're going to get better and better. The third thing is think about not just becoming a clear communicator and iterating, but think about who is the end audience for this. Are you doing this for yourself? Or are you communicating for someone who you're trying to train on how to do their job better? Are you trying to do something for someone who works outside of your group that you need to explain, hey, I negotiate contracts, but I need to explain this to the PI, etc. So thinking about that audience. And those are the 3 things that I would just iterate. You're going to communicate clearly, you're going to be patient and iterate, and you're really going to think about what's that end outcome and what's that audience. Now then, why prompting matters in clinical trials. There are so many great use cases that are out there that you're going to see unfold. Bo and I are happy to share at least a few of those, whether you're thinking about protocols, whether you're thinking about flyers, whether you're thinking about summaries of key documents, whether you're thinking about harmonization of your ICF with your CTA or your protocol documents. There's so many great things that can be time savers that I think that this community, more than many, is going to find a tremendous number of use cases. So let's talk a little bit about that communication. Be specific, be clear with your requests, provide relevant context. So tell the AI in advance, what is your role and what are you trying to accomplish? Don't just start your prompt necessarily with the end. Go ahead and give it some information. It's not always necessary. You can be a little bit sloppy about it, but definitely if you're not getting the results that you want, tell it more about yourself. Tell it more about your role. Tell it more about how you like to communicate or how you like to receive information, and tell it specifically about what you're trying to accomplish. And absolutely, as I referenced before, tell it what format you want. If you want an email that is going to go to your finance office, tell it that you want an email that's going to go to your finance office, and tell it what's most important to the people on the finance team and what framework that they want information. So for example, the most basic is summarize the side effects. By the way, that is, and I'll raise my hand here, I won't ask everyone else to, but that's where I started. Hey, summarize this. That is the simplest prompt, and I bet you it's the most used prompt. But the problem with that is that if you don't give context about what matters, about what format, etc., it's just not going to do as well. So if I can give it just a little bit more information, and maybe that could be 30 seconds longer or a minute longer, but look at the difference between what that is likely going to generate. Help with our patient consent form. That's fine, but be a little bit more specific, right? Just those small upgrades are going to make a big difference in terms of what you're going to get. And I will tell you, has anyone ever told you that they tried AI? Like, I tried it, but the answers weren't that good. It started spitting out all kinds of things. It spit out 3 pages on this stuff that I didn't care about, right? Right? Are you thinking about maybe how to train yourself a little bit better and how to iterate and how to generate better outcomes? I think it's such an important piece of what we do. So here you see the next piece of it is how many things can you ask AI to do at once? Did anyone, Bo said about 3 years ago was when we first started having ChatGPT and other tools available. Does anyone remember about how long a document you could put into ChatGPT at that time? Like a page, 2 pages? Yeah? You could only put a couple pages in. Now you can put in hundreds of pages. Now you can put in thousands of pages and bits of information, which is great. But it can also create some habits on our part that we think that the AI can do everything. It's so beneficial to actually tell the AI to break things down into concrete steps, right? Because what happens is it is able to execute these in smaller parts. If I said to you, I'm going to tell you what to do, we're going to bada, and it's a single sentence with, no it looks like a paragraph, but it's all one sentence and it's telling you everything what to do, that's one thing. If I said, step 1, do this, step 2, do that, step 3, do that, and you looked at it, your ability to digest that information is going to be much, much better. And so providing that context, providing clear communication, making sure, again, what are the things that we're doing, and I cannot say enough that even if what we simply do is say, this is who I am, this is what I want to accomplish at a high level, and this is my audience and output that I want, those basic things are going to have a massive, massive impact. And you're going to say, actually the AI was really good, and the AI didn't really change, but what changes is we're learning how to communicate more effectively. So iterate, summarize our trial results, focusing on efficacy, and then becoming more mature in terms of how we do these things. Please be sure to remember that not everyone is exactly on point every time. If I put in CTA, I promise you, without saying clinical trial agreement first or saying I'm working in clinical trials, it turns out that there are a lot of CTAs in the world that have nothing to do with clinical operations, right? So acronyms can be highly problematic. Certainly, making sure that the things that you're doing, you're mindful of PHI and confidentiality. And then the last piece that we talked about a little bit before, and that is the analytics capabilities are absolutely remarkable. Bo mentioned taking multiple spreadsheets in. You will be absolutely blown away by the ability to put large volumes of data in and ask for patterns, ask for summaries, asking for, I create graphics frequently out of data. I'll put large collections of data in to show negotiation patterns, negotiation trends, all of these things. But if you don't validate it and it comes up with the wrong answer, it's not just the AI's fault, right? We have responsibility as well. And so there needs to be some verification or validation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go replicate every step and do the calculations yourself. Otherwise, why would you be doing this? But you do need to have some validation around that. So there are some key takeaways. Again, clear instructions and iterate, provide context. And last but not least is what we're doing ethical? Is it in line with our institutional standards? Because it's so very important. Nothing, if you take nothing away from this, and I want you to take away, there's such a great world of possibilities, and we're going to show you some really cool stuff here. But I do also want you to remember, absolutely, you have a duty to your institution, you have a duty to your patients to make sure that you adhere to those policies. And it starts and ends with you as to what happens there. We can skip.
Yes. So, all right, we're like 45 minutes in. I think we have 45 minutes left. If that's right.
Yes,
okay.
correct.
So we want to do a little.